All right, what's up everyone? Today we're going to be talking about a basic barbell movement, and I'm going to do a bunch of these, but I'm going to start off with the standing overhead press done with a barbell. There's many variations, but this is the bread and butter overhead press variation. Full body tension is needed in order to press the heavy weights overhead. You need a stable base, you need a stable midsection, and you need a stable upper body. It's not just a shoulder exercise, this is a lift. Let's start off with proper positioning. Your feet should be shoulder width, slightly wider than shoulder width, slightly narrow. You're gonna have to play around with it. Some people stagger their feet, but I'd start off with shoulder width and see how that feels from there. Then what you're going to want to do, you're gonna want to internally rotate your hands so that the bar is in line between the space of your index and thumb. This is gonna be the most powerful pressing position. Now, based on the width of your clavicles, the width from shoulder to shoulder, your grip width is going to vary from person to person. I like starting people off a thumb width away from the smooth, but that's my starting point for people that really have never done this before. You're going to want to flex your upper back and keep your chest up. That is going to create a stable shelf. If you can imagine a bench press, you're pressing yourself into the bench, and the stability of where you're pressing from is ultimately the bench. But with a standard overhead press, you don't have that. So you need to flex your upper back and lats really hard to give yourself that shelf. That's what makes this exercise so hard and such a total body lift. The main key with this exercise is that you stay in the groove. The overhead press has a very small margin of error, and if you go too far outside of that groove, you're gonna fail the lift. You're gonna wanna initially press straight up, then flare your elbows out to the side, and then finish with your arms next to your ears. Some big mistakes I see people do is stay too far leaned back that it's a front delt exercise, and that's incorrect. This is for all three heads of your pressing. I don't know where this mentality came from that the overhead press is not a side or rear delt exercise. Sure, it doesn't dominate the rear delts, but the finishing position at the top, you are definitely getting your side delt work in there. Then the lowering phase, all you're gonna do is pretend you're doing a pull-up. Essentially, you're gonna flex your back muscles on the way down, make sure you're staying under tension, and then reset the bar back to where you were. A lot of people might not have the flexibility to start off straight off your chest or off your clavicle area. So I suggest when you're coming down, get enough tension to where you can't come back down anymore. This might be the chin, this might be mid-throat, but it's completely up to you. You want to brace your core exactly how you would for a squat or a deadlift or a sandbag carry, anything like that. This is exactly the same. You need to brace your core. If your core is not properly braced, the whole chain falls apart and this becomes more dominant on your upper body. So at that point, you might as well just do these seated. Now, recommended sets and reps as an assistance movement, if you're doing it after, let's say, bench pressing, anywhere 3 to 4 sets of 5 to 8 reps, let's say. If you're doing it as a main lift, you're gonna program this exactly like any other main lift. You're gonna do sets of 1 to 5 reps, and that's gonna be your strength work. And the benefits of having a strong overhead press, because a lot of people in powerlifting, especially beginners, think, oh, it's not a competitive lift. Why do I even have to do this? Well, it's going to build upper body strength because your shoulders do play a role in bench pressing. Then it's going to enhance your shoulder stability. So it's going to give you healthier shoulders. If all you're doing is horizontal or flat pressing, there's going to be a shoulder imbalance. Go through the cues I said in the beginning of the video: tight back, tight legs, tight core, so that you have a platform or a shelf to press off of.